Hey everybody, this is Dominique with Black Girl Reviews, and today I'm reviewing Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 15, Episode 2, Sisters Before Misters. Okay, I feel like this is going to be a quick review because it really wasn't a lot going on in the episode. It was just a lot of recaps on the party and how everybody felt and what was said. So let's start with the first scene. It was the party, recapping and going back to what happened last episode. It ended off on the party and it started again with the party. So, you know, Kenya and Martell is getting into it and they're screaming across the party. And of course, Sheree is taking Martell's side. Now, I'm not understanding why Martell is so angry about Kenya saying he tried to DM her. Like, why are you getting so irate and screaming? Like, why do you always take it too hot? Because you do that with your wife as well on Love and Marriage Huntsville. He's the same person on this show. Like, I don't know if he's trying to get on this show to like revamp his image because it's not working. It's not working. It's not being revamped. I'm not liking Martell on Real Housewives of Atlanta. And here goes Sheree. Come on, Martell, let's go. Come on, let's go because we out of here. Okay, bye. Be out of here. I don't care. And then Martell in his in the car leaving the party saying he meant every word that he said. Like he was trying to insinuate that Kenya opens up every DM that hits her DM, and I bet she answers it too. Why do you care if you didn't DM her and if you DM'd her 2020? I said 2020. If you DM'd her 2 years ago, why do you care if she's now answering DMs for everybody that DM her? Which I doubt it because she's a celebrity. You know what I mean? Celebrities have a lot of DMs. Martell, I know you don't understand because you're not a celebrity. Okay, so we're moving on to Drew. Drew is back from Chicago visiting her family. Her dad has Alzheimer's. I hope I'm saying that right because I know people say it wrong all the time. But in all due respect, her dad is losing his memory, and she went to go visit her family to give her mom some support while they put her dad in a nursing home. And that is so sad, and it's even more sad that Ralph decided to go to Ross' party instead of flying the whole family to Chicago to be next to his wife and support her during the time that she needed. Like, why not? Like, why would you decide to go to a party instead of going to Chicago to support your wife? But then they also talked about music and how, they worked on this song together. It sounded cute. She's saying that, them working on this song together is actually the best time they ever had in these 8 years that they've been married, which is so sad. Like, so sad. Okay. That's all I got for Drew, honestly. That scene was sad, about her father, but also it really wasn't nothing going on in that scene, but it was a cute little scene for her and her family. Moving on. Next, we have Candy and Sonia meeting up for lunch to discuss, the party and what was said. Okay. So they meeting up, they talk about their blossoming friendship where Candy invited Sonia to Disney World. We invited the whole group, and Sonia was the only one that responded, saying that she can go, and they went as a family, and it was so much fun. And Candy is opening up to Sonia. If you know Candy in the past, she's really not that. After the situation with Kim and really all those different situations has hardened Candy's heart in opening up to new people, honestly, in my opinion. So for her to take the olive branch to invite Sonia to Disneyland or Disney World, and they spent that little time together, I know it meant something to Candy, and she feels like we're moving forward in our friendship, and we're going to have a great friendship. So during that conversation, they, discussing different things that Sonya didn't know, Candy feeling overwhelmed. She got a busy schedule. She doesn't know when she'll be able to plan another trip. And then they started talking about the party, you know. And Candy was like, I really don't know this girl. She just came up to me and started bobbing her head like a bobblehead, and she didn't understand why she was upset. And then here comes Sonya messy self. So I'm like, oh yeah, I met up with her and Sheree, and she was saying all types of stuff, and I was trying to figure out where she getting this talking about you brought the ghetto to some type of restaurant. And Candy was like, and what'd you say to her? And Sonya was like, well, I said that wasn't right. I mean, I said that, what? And then they flashed back, and Sonya was just gagged, honestly. When the girl said Candy brought the ghetto to this restaurant, to this establishment, Sonya was like, laughing with Sheree. So in Candy's confessional, she was like, I don't believe nothing Sonya said. Sonya tried to act like, she was like, well, yeah, I did take up for you. Well, really, she wasn't saying you're ghetto. She said you brought, the crowd that you brought was ghetto. Same thing, Sonya. Just admit that you did not take up for this girl, and just admit that you fake and phony. Just admit it. I already clocked Sonya last season. Once she started hanging out with, because at first Sonya was hanging out with Candy and Kenya, and they were the only ones coming to her events and trying to help her out for the free. Well, as soon as she got in good graces with Sheree and Marlo, she switched up. She switched up, and she's still gonna switch up this season. And Candy gonna see her for her works. Moving on. Then we get a short scene with Sonya FaceTiming her husband. He's in Austin working on his business, and she is in Atlanta. They, of course, moved down to Atlanta to be on the show. Oh, what? Who said that? And he still has to travel back to Austin because I'm pretty sure I don't want to say that's where they live, allegedly. But I know that she just moved to Atlanta just to be on the show, honestly, because they lived in Austin for the longest, and he has businesses out there, so he still travels back and forth. And her mom still lives with them, and is bringing a lot of tension between them two. That's it. Moving on. Next, we have Candy and Todd. They meet up to have a short Blaze commercial on Bravo's dime. They discuss, the decor, and they discuss the food, and just discussing that they need to switch things up. Business has been real slow since 2020, and they want to think about different ideas on how to get, to elevate their business and get more clientele to come to Blaze Steak and Seafood. And they discussed, Todd wanting to open up more restaurants. He still wants to open up the Mexican restaurants. He also wants to open up Ace Pizza Place. And Candy's just like, why are you trying to open up all these places when we barely have time as it is? And he's just like, well, the most money I make is when I open up restaurants, so that's what I'm gonna do. So Candy just like, okay, and then they move on and they start tasting new food. And before they can actually get down to tasting the food, Candy's cousin Melvin shows up. He's the chef of Blaze, and he shows up in a sling, looking, he looked like one of my cousins actually. I was like, are we related? But anyways, he shows up and they sit down. They ask him how he's been. He's just like, yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I'm a G. And they was like, okay, well, let's start tasting this menu. Candy just biting into the wings. She just eating everything. They naming all the food. It was wings, burgers, that, and that. And then producers, the camera starts shaking. I wish I could shake my camera so y'all can see how it was. The camera went up in the sky and then went down. And then the producer came out in his mask talking about, hey, can I speak to y'all for a minute? And they're like, yeah. Candy licking her fingers. Yeah, let's talk. And the producer's like, so are we gonna talk about the elephant in the room? And Todd was like, what? Nah, we can't talk about that. We got this because that's legal. That's legal. We can't talk about that. Ken's like, no, we ain't talking about that. We ain't talking about that. Nah, we ain't talking about that. That's legal. And then the cousin just sitting there, just with sling on, just sitting in the bag in the cut, like, oh shit. Oh shoot. Oh shoot. They calling me out. They trying to get me on camera. And of course, the shady editors still put up what they were talking about anyway. So apparently, there was a shooting at Blaze restaurants. Melvin, the chef, was in the kitchen whipping up stir fry, and a drunk, allegedly, I'm gonna say allegedly because I don't know if the person was drunk. This is what Candy said. Candy said an ex employee or an employee came in intoxicated, and him and Melvin got into it, and Melvin was like, "Let's step outside." Oh, you got Plex? Let's step outside. They stepped outside, and Melvin got shot in the arm. But Candy don't want to talk about that because that's gonna bring negative publicity to her restaurant. But I don't know why Candy thought they was filming in Blaze Seafood anyway, like just for a free promo. Girl, no, they wasn't gonna show a quick flash. If you're gonna have Melvin come in the restaurant, mic'd up to have a conversation with you, why you think they're not gonna have a conversation with you about Melvin? Unless she did that to say on camera, oh, it's legal, we can't discuss it, just in case it is brought up later, and she could say, oh, I told producers we couldn't talk about it because it's illegal, but we talked about it. I don't know. But that's how that scene ended, and Candy said people still support her even though, it was a shooting. And Sheree, in her shady confessional, because she can't stand Candy for some reason, says when you go to old lady gang, mind you, it was at Blaze, but she said when you go to old lady gang, I don't know if I'm gonna get biscuits or bullets. But boom, girl, bye. Nobody. If we go to She by Sheree, we don't know if we gonna get She in or She by Sheree. Moving on. Next, we have Kenya and Akila meeting up. I love their friendship. They are so cute together. The two little girls, Kenya's daughter and Akila's daughter, they have a play date and they're playing tennis. It's so freaking cute. And then Kenya sits down to talk about her man, Mr. Kill Me Crazy, CEO. I think his name is Roy, ROI, and they call him KMC for Mr. KMC for Kill Me Crazy. Apparently he got millions of dollars, honey. That's what I heard from the streets, but this ain't the streets video. This is Real Housewives of Atlanta, but from the streets, I heard he got queen. And then Kenya started talking about the party and what Akila missed at the party, and talked about how Martell was coming at her crazy. And then they cut to Sheree and Sonya's meetup. Sheree and Sonya meet up separately, and they have dinner or lunch together. And they talk about the party, and Sonya talks about how she had no budget. Okay, Sonya. Okay, whatever. Everybody has their second season glow up, and I just don't like Sonya, so I'm just gonna put that out here. Like, I like Sonya, but I don't like Sonya, if that makes sense. I like her as a professional track person, but I don't like her as a professional Real Housewives of Atlanta woman. Okay, I respect her as in her career in her field, but I do not respect her on this show because she's fake and phony, allegedly. So while Sonya and Sheree are talking, they discuss Sheree being a glam mall. Everybody wants to be a glam mall. Nobody wants to be a grandma, even though y'all up in age. I don't know what's up with everybody in this glam mall stuff, but whatever. And then they discuss the party and how Kenya got into Martell and how Sheree did not like that, and how Sheree feels like Kenya is trying to push this aggressive black man narrative on her and Sonya's man. But in actuality, Sonya's man, okay, let me be honest. I don't like the pushing of aggressive black men trope on someone, especially if they're not being aggressive. But Sonya man stood up. Y'all ain't gonna talk about my wife no more. This is the last time. Even though we on a TV show, and even though this is what y'all do, because I watched the show. I hope y'all watched the show before getting on the show. Even though I watched the show, but y'all ain't gonna talk about my wife no more. Even though this is what she getting paid for. Even though this is why we're in Atlanta and we moved from Austin. Even though we did all that, and I'm on this free vacation due to Bravo in Jamaica because my wife is on this TV show to argue with other women. Y'all ain't gonna talk about my wife no more. And he stood up. Was he gonna hit Kenya? No. Was it a little aggressive and a little too much? Yes. It was a little too much. Okay. Martell. Him getting angry over a DM, if he DM'd her or not, and then he goes, oh yeah, oh my bad, I did DM you, but it was 2020. Okay, calm down. If you didn't DM her and that is your truth, why do you have to get so upset, Martell? It's just a DM. She didn't say, oh, Martell was in the back of the corner doing things with other people and da da da. She didn't bring all that up. She said what she said, but he felt like he had a one up on her because he already knew she was gonna bring up the fact that he DM'd her because he did. But he wanted to be like, see, I told you, I ain't do that. Okay, it was aggressive. More to the story is they were aggressive, and she's not putting anything on these men. They were aggressive. Moving on. Next, we have Drew and Ralph at the studio. I would say this was a short scene, but it wasn't short. It just wasn't giving much. So I had one long, not even a long sentence on my notes about the scene. I just said, Drew's in the studio with Ralph, trying to make an EP. And at the end, she thinks she gonna be on Tiny Desk. Girl, let's start with the music first. Let's start. I don't want to knock her dreams. I don't want to knock her dreams and say, let's start small, girl. You ain't there yet. Da 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 da. Anything can happen, girl. But you literally have one song with Ralph. That's it. One song. So let's get the EP. Let's put it out. Let's promote it. Let's push it, and then let's talk about Tiny Desk. That's all. Moving on. Next, we have Sheree at her e-commerce warehouse where she has other people fulfilling her orders, and she's acting like she's going there to visit to see what's going on and see what the shipment looks like. She's asking stupid questions like, oh, why is this wrinkled? It just came out of a box, Sheree. Oh, then we need to steam this. Will this be extra? And they was like, of course. Why would it not be extra that we have to steam your product before we ship it out? I mean, it's best, but of course it's gonna be extra. And she just laughed and giggled, and I didn't hear her. I didn't hear her say, "Okay, let's do that." She didn't say that. Kenya arrives to Sheree's e-commerce website warehouse. Oh, before Kenya arrives, Sheree is talking about She by Sheree. And she still is adamant that her website crashed. It was so many people on the website, it just crashed. I already debunked that, and House of Aaron debunked that, and I think Kempire made a cameo talking about it. We all know it didn't crash, so we're gonna move on to when Kenya shows up. That's what all that matters. Kenya shows up. She's all like, oh, her good energy, like, oh, this is what you're doing here. Oh, this is what you got going on. Okay. And then they talk about Sheree wants to know about Kenya's man, and she was like, oh yeah, I'm so happy. Oh girl, I was just in LA filming and doing this for Bravo. I know Sheree was just thinking like, why didn't you ask me to film for Bravo commercial for Dish or whatever it was. And then they move on to their man, of course. And then Kenya was like, what about your man? Martell. I hate saying his name. And then Sheree was like, well, speaking of Martell, what was going on? Why did you feel like you had to get in his face at the party? What was happening? And then Kenya explained to her, the situation. I'm not gonna rehash what was said because it was the same thing. Like, oh, he DM'd me. I was just trying to come to you before anybody else came to you. I just wanted to show you before, because we did talk about it. I didn't want you to see it on TV that we were behind your back talking about him, and I just wanted to show you. And then Sheree, in her confessionals or in her face, I can't remember, but Sheree admitted that her and Martell had that conversation before they even started dating. That who he was talking to before her and who he was trying to get with. I already told y'all they had that conversation because this is a PR relationship. They had the conversation. They had to put everything on the table. The PR people was like, let's put everything on the table so nothing can be a blind side. And he told her, like, I was trying to get with Kenya. She fine. Yeah, I tried to get with her. She didn't answer my DM. Then probably it was probably Sheree's idea. How about you just go ahead and delete it because it doesn't show that she's seen it yet. Just delete it. So if she do try to see it, it will just disappear. Okay. So Sheree brings up the fact that she doesn't like her saying that Martell was aggressive, and they going back and forth saying yes, he was aggressive. He didn't have to yell at me, and then Sheree was like, but did you got in his face, and she was like, well, he got in my face, and well, he defending himself. Well, I'm defending myself. Then she brings up the fact that, oh, you constantly bring up the fact that these men are aggressive, and Kenya was like, he is aggressive. Like Kenya did not back down on what she said. And then Sheree in her confessional was gonna say, oh, is Kenya really saying that black men are aggressive because she ain't got no black men? Girl, you don't have a black man either, Sheree. You have a PR relationship. I know you ain't getting in this PR relationship and trying to throw a PR relationship in someone's face. And I don't want to say allegedly, but I'm going to say allegedly just because I don't know for a fact that this is a PR relationship. Wink, wink. But it's a PR relationship. Then Sheree was saying, the only thing is, I don't like the fact that you was disrespecting my man. And then Kenya was like, I felt disrespected. And Sheree was like, over the DM situation? She's like, no. The fact that he said, I bet you do have DMs from everybody and you accept them. You accept all of them and probably answer them too. And Sheree was like, I didn't hear that. Of course, production run that B footage back. And Martell really thought he hit on that too. He was like, yeah, I bet. Talking to Sheree, I bet she too got a lot of DMs from a lot of people, and I bet she answered them all. And Sheree was like, oh. yeah, you heard it. But Sheree was adamant saying, oh, I don't remember that part. Sure, girl. Sure you don't. So of course Sheree doesn't remember that part, but Kenya says she felt like he was trying to insinuate that she was a HOE. And Sheree was like, girl, please, girl, please. What? No. Are you kidding me? No. Sheree might be right. He wasn't trying to call her a hoe. Oh, HOE. He was just jealous that he didn't get a message back from Kenya. Yeah, she probably do answer everybody's message, but yours. But yours got an unseen. There we go. Yours got an unseen. Mr. Martell Holt. Oh, thank you for your kind words. Yeah. And I bet you it was more messages than that. I bet it was other stuff. You just deleted it and left that one message there. But it's convenient when Kenya accepted your message, nothing was there. But conveniently back in 2020, so she probably did not respond to you in 2020, deleted it out of her inbox. You hit her up again and she didn't even respond to it, and you deleted that but kept that one message on there just for this plot line. What a schemer and scammer. And yes, I think he would do all that because he does all that. If you watch Love and Marriage Huntsville, so pretty much it just ended like that. I feel like there's gonna have a continuation next episode with Sheree and Kenya having a conversation about Martell and calling black men aggressive, and Sheree trying to pin this pattern on Kenya because she said last season Ross, who stood up out his seat because sitting down and telling people to chill out on his wife wouldn't have been enough. He needed to stand up and look at everybody. Y'all better leave my wife alone. Or what? Well, that is the end of my recap for Real Housewives of Atlanta. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. I will be back for episode 3. I'm also gonna film Martha's Vineyard next. So I hope y'all stay tuned for that. And I hope y'all like, comment, and subscribe to this video and stay tuned for more. Bye.